Fraser Watson and Gordon Thomas. Fraser, good evening to you. How are you getting on?
Good, Tom. Just a dash here from the Pembrokeshire indoor final, so give you an update from there. Going the way that you would have expected it, actually. Pembroke Dock chasing down Nayland B's total of 101 in the first game. They passed that, come 303 for 1. And Nayland at the moment playing their B team well in control, 130 for 4 they've set, and the B team currently 46 for 3. So it'll come down to the final, essentially. Nayland Davy, Pembroke Dock at about 8 o'clock now, I think.
About 8 o'clock, yeah. So that'll be kicking off now. And in fact, I've just been on their Facebook page because they're broadcasting live with our very own Bill Kahn on the commentary as well. So if I just press this button here, what can we... There he is. So that's Bill over there live at the Nayland Community Hub commentating there, so you can watch that live whilst having us on in the background. Gordon Thomas, good evening to you. And well, you went on a bit of a trip on the weekend, didn't you?
I did, Tom. I had a bit of a jaunt in Division 1 football, to say the least. I went to Carew where Hakin were playing, and that developed into a very good game, which Hakin actually won 3-2. I nipped to Bushcamp to watch a little bit of the bottom end of the table clash between Penna Robbins and Fishguard. It was 1-0 when I was there, and Penna missed a penalty on the stroke of half time. I will name and shame him. Phil Thompson missed it. What you doing, mate? Put it in the net. And then there was no further goals in the second half, so we finished 1-1. And then I went up to Monkton Lane, where Monkton were winning comfortably against bottom of the table, St Clair's. They went on to win that game 4-0 as well. So St Clair's in a bit of trouble, I'm afraid. They're going to find it hard to get out of that bottom spot now. And they've lost a few players, unfortunately, as well.
With the players, they've lost 5 points already. Looks a long way back, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely, Fraser.
Yeah, we're just having a look at the bottom of the table there. It's very much danger zone for Tish and St Clair's at the moment, with still quite a few matches to go. Fraser, Nayland are one above them. They also lost. Fletcher, though, got another 2 goals. Fletcher picked it.
Yeah,
so
no,
Colin,
no rugby for him this week. No, big game actually this week. Nayland are coming up against Penna. Are you looking at the table now? Penna on 9 points, Nayland on 8. Tish behind them on 8, but have actually played 4 more games than Nayland, 3 more games than Tish. But the winner of Nayland Penna on Saturday, if there is one, I think we'll have a lot of breathing space then. With the games that Tish have played, they've got a major advantage over.
I'm just wondering whether Colin Picton will allow his son to play football this week. Colin, is he going to be playing football, mate? Get in touch.
Dalton's been in touch, and so Stephen Price as well. Good evening, lads. Thanks for joining us live here. They're watching us on YouTube at the moment. And you just mentioned plethora of football games there. A lot of them frozen off because of the frost, so it's amazing. But the Bluebirds fell foul to the frost, didn't they? Who would have thought the Bridge Meadow?
Yeah, I know. They had to call it off early, Tom, because of the travelling from Connors Quays, a long way to come. I was told they had started.
They were on the way.
They were on the way, unfortunately, but they did call it off about 10:30 in the morning. That game will be replayed next Tuesday evening now against Connors Quay.
I think to the credit of Afterwards, we should, and both teams actually, we should clarify that Afterwards did contact them the day before and say there's a high chance it'll be off, but league rules dictate you can't call off for where they're 24 hours before. And obviously with the overnight stay, they did then have to travel, and we're a little way down the road by Saturday morning.
It's just a bit unfortunate, and these things happen, but best interest, they tried to sort it out as early as they possibly could.
Yeah, and because phase 2 technically has already started then, even though there's still a match to come on the Tuesday. So how do you think the Bluebirds will be thinking about phase 2 with this Connors Quay match still to go?
You've always got to be wary when you're in phase 2, obviously, because you're in there for a purpose. It's to battle relegation. That's why they split them, so they'll be aware of where the bottom 2 are. I don't think they'll become embroiled in that. I think there's this target of 7th spot, if I'm right, which is some kind of European player. Correct. I think even if they don't say it publicly, that'll be their primary aim. But no, I don't see them being embroiled in anything dangerous by the end there. They'll be all right. It's just whether or not they can finish up like at the top there, like I said.
Yeah. And then
what are you laughing at?
We seem to talk about this every
season. We do, yes.
I know. Every season. They got the new signing that we were denied seeing on, so we'll have to...
If they just finish top 6, we wouldn't have to.
But talking of finishing at the tops, of course, we're not there yet, but Division 1 has got a league leader with some space following their victory on Saturday as well. And Middlesbridge couldn't play their fixture, but Goodwick will be happy.
Yeah, the Goodwick have gone a point ahead. I don't know how much space that is, Tom, but there's a point ahead. And you're right, the Bridge game was called off at Clarbeston Road due to a frozen pitch. Goodwick had a hard game against Tish, mind. It wasn't as easy as they thought it was possibly going to be. And credit to Tish as well, because they've had a difficult season. And for them to go to Phoenix Park and put up a performance like they did, they went 1-0 down, got to 1-1 in the second half, and then leaked a couple of goals that saw them lose 3-1. But credit where credit is due. It isn't 3 points, but it's an improved performance by the Tish lads. Well done.
I mean, there's that 13-point gap to Hake in third, but at the moment it's actually a pretty misleading table where Hake haven't played 5 games less until they get somewhere near. You get a much more realistic picture. And then Hake, to be fair, on paper, in terms of scores, and they've been at their best last 2 weeks. They've come away with 6 points from tight games with Carew and Penno now.
Oh, well.
And they're going to need to do that more, because you can't be at your best every game when you play that volume of games in a season. So there'll be a lot more of that to come. So, yeah, it's Goodwick on top, but I think until they can start catching up those games, it's going to be very hard to have a true picture of who's on top.
Yeah,
exactly.
And Goodwick, they're not necessarily being the most dominant at Phoenix Park at the moment, are they? Like, they're I wouldn't say they're being comfortable. Like you join us every week here, and
they haven't run away with games like they have in the past. They've had a few players change, come into the side. So to be fair to Chris, he understands the game. Chris O'Sullivan. It takes a while for a team to gel. But the most important thing, they're winning, and when you're winning, it doesn't really matter, does it? You've got 3 points on the board, but the games are a lot closer than they'd like. So I'm sure Chris is trying to address that. I mean, Scott Delaney's been out for the last couple of games. He's so good at the back, solid, and he's a leader as well. So they have missed him. And they have leaked a couple of goals, so they'll be looking to address that in the forthcoming games, definitely.
Moncton will test them on Saturday. You'd think Moncton a good side at full strength as well.
Yeah, Moncton are a very good side against poor opposition. When it comes to a good side, Moncton need to step it up. They've got the ability, Fraser, definitely. They've got the players and the quality there. They just need to do it on the day against the big boys. And they're capable of doing it. So, Chris, get those boys out firing, mate.
Before I divert our attention to local rugby, we've already mentioned the Augie Bridge Meadow Stadium. A new appointment there, Fraser.
Yes, that's right. It's an interesting one, actually. I think it's a sign of the management structure now and the workload Rob has to take on from afar. To be fair, we forget he's based in England. I say England, I'm pretty sure he's in Australia this week or something.
Wherever you are, Rob.
Yeah. So to bring in, I don't want to get the exact title wrong now, managing director.
Chief executive.
Chief executive.
Yeah. It was advertised for general manager, but they were so impressed with Georgina that she's come in and they are giving her chief executive responsibilities.
Her mother was actually a PE teacher when I was in school, Alison. Yeah, that's a long time ago.
That's fantastic.
But it's a sign that the club is growing. It's a sign they want a professional structure in place in the background, for sure.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get Georgina on at some point and we'll welcome her in. She officially starts her role on the first week of March. But she's going to be dealing with the board in the meantime. So I'm excited to see what that means and how that develops over the coming season. So but best of luck from all of us here. But turning our attention to the rugby ball, lots of games not on. But Fraser, you were watching one game we'll start off in Division 3. You were at St David's.
I saw a proper game of rugby, actually. It's one of the best Division 3 West games I've seen in a while down there. Aberaeron came down, one of the stronger teams in the league, and they came against St David's side, which played as well as I've seen for a long time, to be honest. Really fronted up, and in the end, it'll hurt them. That result will hurt them because they missed a big chance to beat Aberaeron, which would have believed in the first time in something like 16 seasons, actually, and obviously leading into the last 4 minutes, even after the try, had the late penalty, which would have won it, and then the 2 line-outs at the death at the end and didn't get over the line. So, mixed feelings in the end, actually. Huge credit for them. They've got that coaching structure now there with Jack Dudley, Chris Morgan, Noel Lyons and Morgan Griffiths, and they've elevated their levels a lot this season. They've got some good young players coming through, and they can take a lot of pride from that display, but they will ruin a missed opportunity.
Yeah. I've been quite critical here about how Division 3 is very much a two-tiered structure. You've got the ones that are dominant on the top, and you've got everyone else. But what I'm really pleased is St David's aren't that team that they were over the last couple of years. They are putting in very competitive matches. And I was in Neyland for Neyland v Langham.
Yeah.
Caught the second half of that match, and Langham looked composed.
Yeah, Langham upped it.
Yeah, so it was a much better performance from them. So who knows? Hopefully, this is the turning of the tide for Division 3 and a bit of competitive rugby throughout the whole division, and not those running away with it.
I mean, it would be nice, a more competitive division, but I mean, you say that on the same day. You look, I think Plan and Brother didn't travel to Pembroke Docks; they couldn't raise a side. So obviously, there is still issues there. But I completely understand what you're saying, Zin.
Yeah. We'll shift up a division. If this will load quickly, which it isn't at the moment. But that's right. We had Milford against Tenby.
Excellent game, wasn't it?
We heard from Steve Martin. We heard from Alid in the first half of this show. We also heard from Steve Martin.
Yeah.
And looking at the table, Tenby will be disappointed.
In form, yes. Milford gone into it with just one win and one draw in 8 league games before that, and it looked like they were heading to one of those nothing seasons we've been talking about with Pembroke, where they're going to be in the bottom 2 without being able to go down or whatsoever. But no, big win for Milford. They upped it. James Williams, I call him Gully. I think there's about 100 Gullies around there now. But landed 5 penalties. He looks a good prospect at outside half, so they'll be absolutely delighted with that. Real cause for optimism for them, that.
Yeah, no, it's a real boost. And then further north, then Fishguard. Again, competitively close, 30 points to Carmarthen, 21 for Fishguard. Where are Fishguard lying in that division? What are they hoping now?
Mid-table.
Solid mid-table team for a while. Yeah,
they have been. And they're performing very well. Carmarthen are a very good side as well. It's the Athletic they played, I assume. Yeah, Athletic. And, it's always difficult to beat teams from further up west. And that's a big catchment area in Carmarthen. The Quins got a good set up there. Athletic on the bad side as well. So they'll, Nathan Jenkins and his brother have been working hard with them, and they are showing signs of improving. They just need to step up to that next level now.
21-3 up at half time will disappoint them.
Yeah.
That would like to be the Jenkins boys what they're saying.
Well, you know what would have been said in that changing room there. A few harsh words. Or home truths, as they call it.
And then you mentioned catchment areas. One of probably the smallest catchment areas in rugby in West Wales, going up against Aberystwyth and coming away with the spoils.
Don't get sucked into this small catchment area. They've got those factories beneath those hills there, or whatever they do, where they churn out farmers and rugby players. Crimmock are going very well. We've spoken to Elgar and in a couple of times on this show, and I think the most pressing thing, they're not actually playing at a full tilt. They're scraping out a lot of wins. We really needed to do to be champions. Actually, and we said they had that almost season-defining 2 weeks. Newcastle, Emlyn, and Aberystwyth. Newcastle, Emlyn was called off. So again, like we talked about in the football, whilst they're top by 7 or 8 points, Emlyn do have those 2 games in hand, and still they play them. We don't get a clearer picture, maybe. But to go to Aberystwyth, and win. It is a big result at any time.
Any time, mate. It's no mean feat to go there and win.
No, it's no mean feat to go there.
Well, it is a feat to go there.
It's to get there, play 8 minutes of rugby and win. But no, fair play. And as we always say with Crimmock, it's a largely local. The local coaching team.
Exactly. Yeah, they deserve a lot of credit, and they're doing well. And keep it up.
Yeah, and then Pembroke. I don't mean this to sound rude or derogatory, but they're fulfilling their fixtures. There was a smaller margin than previous weekend.
Yeah,
they're sticking at it.
There's light at the end of the tunnel. Sam Smith was back this week. I saw him. He had a try. I mean, Sam has been missing for a couple of seasons. He was very influential, number 8 for them back in their heyday when they were going through the promotions. Yeah. So it's nice to see Sam back. Perhaps he can coax his brother Toby back as well, a fly half. That would be good as well. So whether they can do
political now, I think.
Yeah,
But these things do go on in local rugby, phrase.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, yes. I mean, it's Division 1. They should be fulfilling fixtures. I'm afraid in that league you shouldn't be being about 100 points, but it is what it is. They're going through a difficult spell, and they've got little choice but to dig deep and get out of it. Unfortunately,
It's the way of it. You
That's
have
where
the
they
good
are.
times, you have the bad times, and unfortunately, you've got to see out the bad times to make sure the good times come back.
Yeah, well, in other rugby fixtures, we're hoping for the good times to come back. We've got, on an international level, a new coaching team. Jonathan Thomas of Pembrokeshire has joined that team as well. The Six Nations around the corner. And, we've only got Sean Holly waiting in the waiting on the line for us.
Well, he's well timed because the BBC from 8 till 9 tonight are doing
Yeah.
expose and potential sexual harassment claims in the WIU. So by the time we come off air, I don't know what state they're organised. A lot could have changed.
That's a very good point. I'll leave you those questions. Delton, who's been here, he's been trying to get a song request on. Well, Delton, we're going to be quiet because we're going to have a little chat with Sean Holly and get him on our social media as well. It's 20 minutes past 8 o'clock. We're going to be talking to Sean Holly, talking Welsh rugby and rugby in general. We'll go grassroots all the way up,
I
shall
think
we?
we'll mention the Six Nations.
Once or twice.
Right, okay.
You're listening to the Pure Sport Show with Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors.
Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors have traditional